body's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got more!
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, this is going to be slightly different to what I normally do. I'm going to be talking about wokeness in movies today. Now, I'm not a very smart person when it comes to trying to word or articulate things when it comes to talking about topics like this, because they are quite hard hitting. But you're probably asking yourself, why are you wanting to talk about this anyway? Well, over the past few weeks, especially when I've released reviews for movies like They/Them or Prey as a prime example, I've had a lot of comments on my videos with regards to wokeness, whether it be someone saying, wow, this movie is so woke because such and such, or people calling me transphobic or homophobic or racist or anything like that because of something that I don't like, not for the reasons they think it is, but they're calling me out for that. So in essence, I would be anti-woke. Is that what you would call it? I've no idea. Again, I don't take anything to do with it, but I think this video today is very important because not only does it happen to me, it's happened to friends around the YouTube community that came to me and spoke to me about it, and it's also happened to people in real life. So it happens all around the world. Today, it's 2022. People categorize you in two separate areas. You're either woke or you're anti-woke. I think that's the basic terms of what people are today. You can't be anything else. You have to be one of them, apparently. And I'm going to delve into it today, and I'll give you some examples along the way. I do have to point out though, guys, I'm going to be giving two sides to this. I'm not going to be going down one route and rooting for one person, and I'm not going to be going down the other route and rooting for another person. I don't have a side. I'm just going to give you both sides of the argument and show you what people see from my point of view and possibly their point of view. Now, I'm not one of these people who will not watch a film or a show based on what it's about or how I think it looks or how I interpret the movie. Now, I did do a review for They/Them. That movie is not my kind of movie. I don't hang around with people in circles of that nature. I just don't do it. Not because I don't want to. I just don't have any friends or family who are like the people from They/Them. But I won't watch the trailer for They/Them and go, I'm not watching that, that's woke. That's not what I do. Whether I think it's woke or not, I will still give the movie a chance, because there are some movies that may look deceiving, but when you watch it, it's not like that. There will be movies that you expect it to be that way, and it is, but there are movies that are not like that. So I will always watch a movie that I'm interested in, and give it a chance. Now, if there is a movie that I'm not interested in that looks woke, I won't watch it. Not because it's woke, but because it doesn't look good. So that was one of the examples, They/Them, because it did look interesting. It didn't look like the type of movie I would always watch, but it had Kevin Bacon in it. It was about these people at camp that get killed off one by one, and that's it. But when I watched the movie, it was terrible. One of the worst movies that I'd ever seen. But because to me it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen, then people might expect me to be anti-woke, is that what you would say? Against trans people or against gay people because I didn't like the movie. But in actual fact, if you watched the review, you would know that that's not the reason. So it kind of swings both ways. There will be people who won't watch a movie because it's so woke, or pretend to watch my review for a movie like They/Them and call me anti-woke or transphobic or racist or homophobic. And I'm like, well, you're doing the exact same thing as the people who are calling something woke. You're not watching my review before you're passing judgment on me as a person. Watch the review and then pass your judgment. If you still think I am transphobic or homophobic or whatever, then give your reasons why. Don't just call me the name and then walk away. Don't do that, because you're doing exactly what the other people do. You're calling people out for calling something woke and not giving the reasons for it. You're calling people out for, you know what I'm saying? My prime example today is going to be Prey. Now, I done a review for Prey and I called it the best Predator movie in the franchise. And I did mention before I called it the best is I'm not a fan of the Predator franchise. I've never loved the franchise. Some of the Predator movies are good, but I don't know much about the Predator franchise to be heavily involved in it. So when I watched Prey, I thought that's the best Predator movie. This film has a strong female lead who is going up against a predator. Now, when you watch the trailers and read the synopsis of the movie, I will admit that sounds a little wokish to me. But as I always do, and as I always promise to do, if something looks half decent, semi-decent, I will give it a chance. And that's what I done with Prey. I thought, doesn't look like my cup of tea, looks a bit unrealistic, but I will watch the movie anyway. It's a Predator movie at the end of the day, and I think they're decent. I watched the film, and I was completely blown away by it. So that's why I always give a film a chance, because sometimes the trailers are deceiving in the wrong way. The trailers, again, it's a Disney Plus film. The trailers are probably marketed to more people than just fans of Predator. They're trying to pull in these people who are all about the justice. They want strong female characters in movies. So when they advertise it like that, it will ruffle some feathers, because there will be people who don't watch films, they just call them woke, who will be against it. But it's targeting people who are all about inclusion. And I'm not against inclusion, but they're targeting that kind of person, which I'm not. I don't pander to anything. I'm not a virtue signaler. I just see things as they are, and I call things out when I need to. But Prey was one of those films, when the trailers came out, I thought, oh, it's pandering, but I'll watch it anyway. And although it is pandering, and when you watch the film, there is pandering scenes in it, it's still a fantastic film. You need to give a film a chance. But being Disney Plus, you know that they've given Dan Trachtenberg a script, and they've said, we need this to be as inclusive as possible. And you know, the director himself and other directors around the world, they'll be looking at it going, this is pandering, you know, this is virtue signaling. How can I twist it to make it something that maybe caters to both people? So I think that's what him and his team done. He got people in from the tribes from North America, the Comanche people. He got them all involved, and he made a great film. He probably got told, you need to make this a strong female lead, and she needs to be the best ever. And he's probably thinking, no, we're not doing that. We're going to build her character up. Now, I'm going to give you other examples within Prey. I'm going to give you Sarah Connor. I'm going to give you Ellen Ripley. These characters were built up, especially Sarah Connor. Now, I'm getting people who are calling Prey woke because you couldn't get a girl like her in Prey to defeat a Predator in one movie. You just can't do it. It's totally woke. And then these same people are loving the Terminator. A woman who worked in a diner who then defeats a cyborg. I think that's why Prey stands separate from all these woke style movies, because Prey had a character who was built up like Sarah Connor, who needed to learn from her mistakes, needed to learn on the job to get the job done. And that's what this girl in Prey was able to do. And that's why the director was so good at what he done, because he knew he was dealing with a virtue signalling style movie, but he made it a movie similar to movies like The Terminator. And that's why I think movies like Prey, although they may look like woke and virtue signalling and pandering, but these type of movies need to be given a chance before you judge them. Now, looking at this argument, it looks like I'm almost on the side of people who call people out for just saying woke, and I do that. However, I also have the same opinion on people who are not like that, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. Now, please guys, don't comment on this video if you haven't watched the full video. Don't tell me that I'm also woke because of what I've just said, because I've got more to say next. So please watch all the video, and I know I'm going to get comments from both sides down below, and that's fine. But please watch the full video before you comment. Now here's the flip side, guys. You will get films and TV shows that come out that are just complete and utter garbage. And it's because they try and deal with social issues as the main subject, but have a wraparound story to try and cover it up, like They Slash Them, like what we're looking at with She-Hulk as well. They're trying to make it look like this Marvel Cinematic TV show comedy, when in actual fact it's just about men bashing. But people who don't like the show for reasons that it is about men bashing as well as the show being bad are being called misogynistic. Now, why are you being called misogynistic? Because you don't like something? Yes, it might have undertones that may go against what you believe, but at the same time, it might be really bad. And because you're calling it bad, then you're getting these people on the flip side calling you out, calling you misogynistic, calling you transphobic or whatever, because you don't like something. Now, they're calling you out for that, but then they also hate it when people call something woke. Now, again, you have to look at pot, kettle, you live in a glass house, etc. both sides are just as bad as each other. When you're calling something out for something you haven't seen, when you're calling someone misogynistic for saying they don't like something, at least ask them why. Ask them to give a reason why before you call them misogynistic, or at least watch their video with regards to why they're calling something bad. You know, I watch videos where someone says, this is bad, and then someone says, oh, that's because you're transphobic. I'm like, well, no, if you watch the full 15-minute video, you'll understand why they're calling it bad. It's not because they're transphobic or misogynistic, it's because they think it's bad, and that was the reason. You're jumping in there because you have an agenda. You want to have strong female characters on the big screen, no matter what the cost. But there is a cost behind that, and the cost is bad writing and bad movies, bad writing and bad TV shows. You're accepting these strong female leads or these strong transgender leads because they are what you want out and about in the world. And everyone wants that, but they want it to be a strong movie. They want it to be a strong TV series, and if it's not, then people are getting called out for it, and they shouldn't be. And it's not just the fans that are calling people out for this, it's the makers of the shows, it's the stars of these shows and movies that are calling people out as well, when in actual fact they know the film or TV show is bad. You know, you've got people saying, oh, they're giving us list of things that are being called out for bad, like She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, you know, the typical bad films that are genuinely bad, the typical bad TV shows that are genuinely bad. And you've got people who are involved in the shows and movies coming out saying, oh, it's because you're just misogynistic. And you're like, you are the makers of the show. You have to watch the show or the film and try your best to be impartial. If something's bad, it's bad. That's one of the reasons I won't really review things other than horror, because horror seems to be the least topical, even though it's getting that way. But you'll get shows like She-Hulk or movies like Captain Marvel. I tend to avoid those, and other people tend to avoid those for fear of being called misogynistic, for fear of being called transphobic or racist or homophobic. We're not those things, but for people calling us that, we just can't really be bothered to deal with the hassle. But, you know, I think moving forward on my channel at least, I will talk about these things because I think it is worth talking about. I see both sides as being correct, and I also see both sides as being very, very wrong. So I don't think I should hold back on what I believe is a good or bad film or a good or bad TV show just because of the fear of what other people will think. I will give you my honest opinion and I will give you my reasons why. And if you're not happy with that, or you get a misinterpretation of that, that's your fault. That's nothing to do with me. At the end of the day, guys, if someone calls you anti-woke, woke, misogynistic, transphobic, racist, whatever it is, on both sides of the argument, if they are not able to give you a good reason why, that's on them, not on you. Anyway, guys, that was a little long-winded, but I think I got my personal point across as to what I've experienced on the channel and what I've seen other people experience on their channels. But leave your comments down below. Let me know your experiences of being called woke or anti-woke. Again, there's no right or wrong answer unless you're not able to give a proper reason behind it. Leave your comments down below, guys. Let's talk about it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.